Welcome, Wildcats, to a very special NCAA tournament edition of this Weber State Weekly Volleyball Instant Reaction Show. I'm your host, Colby Peterson, and on the Instant Reaction Show today, we got with us AC, our resident volleyball expert. AC, how you feeling?
History was made today. I'm feeling great.
History was made today. Big-time plays happening in Omaha, Nebraska. The Wildcats take down Bowling Green University 3-1 in the first round of the NCAA tournament, getting their first win in the NCAA tournament in program history. So, like AC said, history has been made tonight, folks. Hope you can feel it.
Yeah, huge day for the program. Just incredible day for Weber State volleyball history, and this program is going the right way. And I don't know how anyone in Wildcat Nation cannot be excited about this team. They're so likable. They're so fun. They play an amazing brand of volleyball. Great day to be a Wildcat.
Absolutely a great day to be a Wildcat. And so we want to talk a little bit about this game because, we weren't quite sure what to expect from this Bowling Green squad. Conference champions themselves in their own right, going 22-1 in their conference play. Of course, the Wildcats, conference champions, of course. That's how they found their way to the tournament. And so weren't sure exactly how they were going to stack up. But, man, really, in the driver's seat, led out the gate in each of the four sets today. So, AC, let's talk a little bit about this. Give me your initial reactions and kind of what you saw over the course of these four sets that led to a Wildcat victory. Weber
State jumped out to a big start in sets 2, 3, and 4. They jumped out to a big start. They got a little bit behind in the first set. I think it was 8-4 at one point in favor of the Falcons. But, they were able to find a way to get back into it. They used their serve. They used their defense, their blocking. It's a physical team, so tall, and they can touch multiple ladies who are able to dunk a basketball. So they're touching 10-6, 10-7 right up in there. And, they were able to use their strengths to their advantage. They took Bowling Green's right side hitter, the opposite hitter, Petra Androva, completely out of the match. So Bowling Green was struggling to find points elsewhere, and it was just an amazing performance, one of their best performances of the season against the best team they've played this season. And to go into Omaha in a funky gym, it's not even a gym, it's a convention center, just a funky setting, something that these ladies haven't played a competitive match in probably since their, high school days in a club type setting. And they played lights out today. Incredible performance from this team. Super stoked for them.
Yeah, like you said, the venue is a little bit weird because there were a couple of balls that found their way, outside of the realm of play, and so people trying to dig and get it back into play so they could get it back over the net. And people are sitting very close. There are partitions there, separating this. It looks like a convention center or something, and so there are people sitting on chairs up against the partitions, just trying to get out of the way because there was not a lot of space on the sidelines there. But Wildcats, they did a great job just kind of controlling what they could control and doing their best. A lot of aces in this one. Ashlyn Power leading the team with 4 service aces in this one. And that's a thing that the commentators noted that Weber State does very well, controlling the serve and controlling the front, which is another thing. And so AC, talk a little bit about that and talk about, how Weber State's front was able to really keep the ball on the other side of the net and give Bowling Green a little bit of trouble.
A lot of trouble. I'll correct you there. We'll start there. They gave Bowling Green a lot of trouble. It starts with Sam Sheese. She's the key cog in the whole block, right? She's the lead blocker for the team. And then in the back row, you've got Caroline Broadhead, who, they rotate around. Caroline Broadhead will go up in the middle, and she'll take over when Sam Sheese subs out. And so those two really are huge for this block because they're the ones communicating. They're the second piece when the ball's set out to the right or the left. They're the second piece that gets over there and really seals off that block. Also, I think that it's of note that there were some really big solo blocks that ended up taking some Bowling Green's key players out of the match. Petra Androva in the very first set. Rylan Adams was over there for the solo YOLO block, I like to call it. Petra Androva goes up and Rylan Adams just roofed her. And so that set the tone for taking Indrova out of the match. She's a star player for this Falcons team, a team that went 22-1, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Colby, but 22-1. And just right off the bat, Rylan Adams able to get a huge block that sets the tone there. And then you had Emma Mangum on the right side as well, did an excellent job getting involved in the block. I think she's the tallest player on the team. She touches like 10'6", and so she's able to get up there, physical, imposing figure, and she made her presence felt on the right side in that block as well. And so taking Indrova out of it, that was massive for Weber State for the entire match. She only had 2 kills, I think, for the whole match, and it started in that first set when Weber State set the tone on the net. They took her out of it, and Bowling Green struggled. They had to look elsewhere to start setting and try to find some points in the offense.
Yeah, so actually just 1 kill for her, ended up with a negative hit percentage of negative 0.182. So like you said, taking a key piece of what Bowling Green likes to do, taking a key piece of their team out of the rotation. And like you said, both Caroline Broadhead and Emma Mangum both doing their best on the front. 7 blocking assists for Caroline Broadhead and 6 for Emma Mangum. Just massive on the front there to kind of keep that ball on the other side of the net and give Bowling Green, just fits trying to score the ball. So AC, now I want to go to our turnovers and takeaways, and let's start with turnovers because we talked a little bit about, of course, the front. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but tell us what you think your turnover was from this one, because tomorrow is a big match as well.
So turnover was a little bit interesting. To start off the match, the Weber State block was just incredible. It was phenomenal, perfect. And Bowling Green couldn't do anything against it. And so anytime there was a high set to the outside, Weber State was blocking it. They were getting a hand on it, and Bowling Green just wasn't able to get any points through it. And Weber State ended up winning that first set. So what Bowling Green ended up doing to counter that was they ended up going to their finesse. They stopped swinging. They ended up going with the roll shots, trying to go over the top of the block. They ended up going with tips. The setter would dump it on too. And so they countered Weber State's block. And in the second set, that's when Bowling Green made their run, was when they went to the finesse. And so for me, my turnover is going to be Weber State's adjusting to the adjustments. I thought that they were just a little bit slow making that adjustment to Bowling Green's finesse. When Bowling Green would tip the ball over the net, when they would use their finesse to go around the block rather than try to go through it. And so I thought Weber State was just a little bit slow doing it. They did end up doing it, though, and that's the big thing here. They won the match, obviously, 3-1. They were the better team throughout the match. But for me, I would have liked to have seen Weber State cover the floor just a little bit better on Bowling Green's finesse.
Yeah. Definitely saw that, like you said, AC, in the second set, where they moved away from kind of those power swings and tried to get these rolls and just kind of these soft touches to get the ball in the middle of the floor, because that front line was just giving them so much trouble. They were having a difficult time getting it through their hands and on and past into the middle of the floor. And so they were trying kind of these soft little things. And in the second set, I'd have to say it kind of worked for them for a little while, right? It was difficult to make that adjustment.
It did work. Bowling Green went on a huge run because in the second set, Weber State jumped out to a big lead. Yeah. They jumped out to a huge lead, and then Bowling Green started using the finesse. They started going around the block. They found a way to get the ball to hit the floor, right? And Weber State was a little bit slow to adjust, but when they went finesse rather than power, that was when Bowling Green went on the run that allowed them to win that second set, steal the second set, really.
Yeah.
So that single adjustment really is what that was the catalyst to the Falcons' success in the second set.
Yeah, because like you said, at one point there in the second set, the Wildcats up 11-6, and then here come the Falcons. A lot of that adjustment, and they go on a huge run, and they end up tying. Or I think, they end up tying it 11-11. And it was like, okay, now we have a match, and goes a little bit back and forth, and Weber State kind of falters, gets some momentum back, gets back into the match. But then once we get into the 20s, it was all pretty much Falcons from that point, and they win 25-22. But let's talk about that third set, because Now, I think that the Wildcats, make a little bit of adjustment and they say, okay, that's happening. Kind of talk to me a little bit about that turnover, AC, but in the third and fourth sets, did you see, that any sort of adjustment movement in the strategy of the Wildcats that gave them a little bit more success to end up winning those two and ultimately the match?
I don't think it was necessarily fixing anything that Bowling Green was doing or countering that. What I think they did was they just started serving lights out. Ashlyn Power, it was like she had the ball on a string and she was just doing whatever she wanted with it. I think it was the very first point of the third set when Ashlyn Power had a service ace, and I'm telling you, I tweeted it out too. That ball looked like it had an anchor attached to it. It got over the net, and then it just sunk right at the 10-foot line. It was incredible, and that was how they started the third set. And so Weber State, the best serving team in the Big Sky Conference, a conference that is renowned for its aggressive serving. When the Wildcats have their serve going, they are a tough team to beat. In the third and fourth sets, guess what happened? Weber State turned the heat up at the service line. They were able to control. It was close. It was a little bit of back and forth. The fourth set, though, Weber State pretty much dominated all the way through, with an exception of a little mini run at the end. But it was, for me, the third and fourth set, they changed the tone of the match changed because Weber State changed how they were serving, and it started with the very first serve of the third set with Ashlyn Power, one of the best servers in school history. Statistically, you can go check the record books. She ended up getting a service ace there, and things kind of changed from there.
Yeah. Like you noted, a little bit of a run there at the end of the fourth. Jacqueline Askin for the Falcons, really a key piece of that, kill after kill after kill to, put the Falcons, maybe start to claw back into it, because they were down pretty deep. At one point we're looking 22-14. I mean, it looks pretty much over, and that's in the fourth set. They get back in it a little bit, but not enough. Sorry. So, AC, now let's flip the script and let's go to takeaways, man. What's something to like as the Wildcats get ready to take on the best team in the country, number 1 Wisconsin, tomorrow?
All right, so I'm going to go a little bit off the script here. I'll give producer Dan a snowball here with the first one, but the takeaway for me, the first one, is the fact that the Great Wall of Weber was back. I'm patenting that phrase. I came up with it in 2019. I'm taking it. That's mine. Great Wall of Weber is back. The block was incredible throughout the entire match. Anytime that Bowling Green tried to go for power, it just wasn't happening. It was stuffed. I think that their setter got rattled a little bit, because it got to the point where on some of those high sets, on the 4 balls to the left and the 5 balls out to the right, it seemed like her location was off. And it seemed like the hitters got a little bit rattled too. They just started hitting it into the net. They started hitting it really low as well. It was like they were very conscious of what the Weber State block was doing. And they were like, oh crap, like I'm supposed to put a swing on this, but that block's there. And I mean, I can't swing with these ladies. I can't swing with Sam Sheese across the net for me. And so it got into their mind a little bit. The fact that Weber State's block was so incredible throughout the match. It was probably, I mean, I don't know statistically. I'm going off the top of my head. I watched every single Weber State volleyball match this season, and just off the top of my head, this is probably the first or second best blocking match this team had. And I'll tell you, what a time to have your best blocking match. This is something that Weber State is known for. They play a physical brand of volleyball. Nothing gets past this net. Nothing gets past this front row. They showed it today against Bowling Green when the lights were shining bright in the NCAA tournament. This block was killer. I got 2 more takeaways, Colby. You've got to forgive me. But this is a huge match, and I got takeaways for days. I'm going to limit myself to only having 3 total. But the second takeaway I've got, this team just won an NCAA tournament match. Yeah. Like, what? This is huge. I mean, this is the exact same thing as when the men go to March Madness and they win a game there. Like, this is massive. Weber State volleyball is in the national spotlight right now. And they just won. They picked up a dub in the national spotlight. Like, this is monumental for the program.
Well, and for the conference, because the conference has not had an NCAA win in the tournament since 2007. So it's been quite a while since we've seen something like this. And I think that for this one, it was kind of interesting because everybody, I think, was a little bit nervous coming in, didn't know what to expect with Bowling Green. And the Wildcats really set the tone early and often that they were here and that they were going to compete. And it never really felt like this match was totally out of hand, that the Wildcats were completely outmatched. Never felt that way. And so interesting scenario after, the Big Sky Conference not being able to win a Big Sky tournament game for 14 years. Just crazy.
I mean, it was huge for the entire conference. A historic day for Big Sky Conference volleyball, and it happens to be Weber State's first NCAA tournament win, the first of hopefully many. So that's my second takeaway. And my third takeaway is the fact they cut to this team. I mean, during the timeouts and stuff, they cut to the players. They cut to Maya. This team is smiling. They're laughing. They're joking around. They are having a great time. They're in Omaha with the national spotlight on them, and they are just having a great time. This is a fun brand of volleyball. It's a killer team, and you've got Jeremiah Larson, one of the most likable coaches in probably all of college sports. If I'm telling you, if I'm a recruit, I'm looking at this team playing on ESPN, and I'm saying, I want to play for this team. I want to play for Jeremiah Larson. That guy knows what he's doing. They play fun volleyball. And so just watching them and how much fun they were having, man, I'm sitting here on my couch just smiling like an idiot watching these ladies play at the highest level and win. Like, this team is fun. If you're not on the bandwagon, get on the bandwagon.
Get on it. Plenty of room, right? Yeah, Kevin Lundell. Hey, let's go Wildcats. Historic dub, and he's absolutely right. Huge W for the program today. And a great point, AC. Like you said, this is a team on national television, on ESPN. And gosh, man, like you said, they looked like they were having fun. They were locked in. They were playing their game, not out of system, like really, really doing their stuff. And man, they get the dub. And so that's got to help if you're a recruit, a volleyball recruit someplace in the country thinking, man, I'd really love to get in on what's going on over there, because they've got something fun and they're doing it right. So now, AC, let's go to MVP. Let's see what you're thinking on this, because we had a lot of folks step up. Like you said, the block was really good. So, of course, Sam Shisa. We have yet to mention, though, I should have mentioned this earlier, Michaela Sorensen had a really great game, 22 digs in this one, just really being that person who made sure to play that good defense, get that ball back up in the air, get it over to Ashlyn, and let's get rolling. But with that, I want to turn it back over to you, AC. Who's your MVP for this one?
So I'll give a quick shout out to Michaela Sorensen, because she was incredible, and the stats don't tell the whole story. 22 digs, sure, that's incredible, but she kept Ashlyn in the green zone all night, and she was keeping the team in system. And so Michaela Sorensen was incredible. She's not my game MVP. If I could give out multiple MVPs, Michaela would be right up there. My MVP for the most important, the biggest match in Weber State volleyball history goes to all Big Sky first team performer, outside hitter Danny Ney. Incredible performance from her. One of the best performances I've ever seen from Danny Ney, and I'll tell you why. 18 kills, 14 digs, 295 hitting percentage. So she hit lights out, sure. But that does not tell the whole story. How did she do it? She did it from the left side. She did it from the right side. She did it from the back row. And she had one of the most incredible kills I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of volleyball. She had one of the most incredible kills I've ever seen. From the right side in the third or fourth set, I can't remember. She's jumping off of her right foot outside of the net, goes hard angle across the net, and somehow got the kill. I have no idea how she pulled it off. We talked to Maya earlier in the season, and he said one of the things that makes Danny Ney is her range. She showed it on this play. Somehow she got this kill. I'm telling you, one of the most impressive plays I've ever seen. The fact that anyone's able to get the ball over the net is impressive. No, she got the kill on it. And so Danny Ney, just incredible performance, 2019 Big Sky Freshman of the season, and this year all Big Sky first team performer. And she showed why today, hitting lights out, doing it from everywhere imaginable. She kept this offense humming and did it in the most impressive fashion that I could even imagine. Incredible stuff from the sophomore.
Well, and I think, AC, that your MVP pick highlights the depth of this Wildcat squad, because throughout the conference tournament, all eyes were on Rylan Adams, conference MVP, and then ended up being the MVP of the conference tournament, and had a huge impact on what was going on the floor. Now we get to the big stage. We get to the big dance for volleyball, the NCAA tournament, and Rylan Adams, of course, doing what she can over there. She had a great game, I thought, ended up, with 11 digs to go with her 14 kills, nothing to sneeze at there. 2 solo blocks, 2 assisted blocks, just lights out, doing a great job on her side of the floor. But Danny Ney is the one stepping up, getting the kills, getting things happening. And so it just shows, my goodness, this Wildcat team is so deep, so talented, that even if you try and take one of, maybe the conference MVP out of the game, even though she's not really out of the game, somebody else is going to step up and get you. I remember I texted you, AC. There was a point in the second set where Danny Ney had this great kill from the back row, and it was just like, oh my goodness, like just lights out no matter where she ends up on the floor. And you just said, hey, that's what we do, right? That's what we do at Weber State. And so really impressive to be able to just plug and play whoever's going to be the person to step up in this match or whatever. This Wildcat team is deep, folks.
And let's go back. You talk about depth. You want to talk depth. Let's talk depth. 2019, this team had Megan Knighting, 1,000. She was in the 1,000 kill club. Had Hannah DeYoung, who's an all-conference performer. Had Elena Curry, who's an all-conference performer. Had Aubrey Adams. I mean, they were stacked. They were stacked. And so coming into this season, everyone's like, well, Weber State lost a ton of talent. They'll probably be second, third place. And they ended up tied for second place in the preseason polls. The tiebreaker would have gone to NAU because they ended up getting first place votes, and Weber State did not get first place votes. Everyone was like, oh, Weber State's losing too much talent. They're not going to win the conference. Psych, guess
Dominated
again.
the conference.
Not only did they win it, they won it going away. They won it in Greeley, Colorado against the defending champs. And so this team, we talk about it in football, right? We've talked about they're not rebuilding, they're reloading. This team is reloading. They lost 3 or 4 all-conference players from the 2019 season. And guess what? You got 4 more all-conference players ready to step up. You got the conference MVP, the conference tournament MVP ready to step up. And Danny Ney, who's, everybody's putting the spotlight on Rylan Adams, and Danny Ney goes off in the NCAA tournament. So this team is loaded at every single position, and it's 1, 2, 3 deep sometimes. So depth is incredible for this team. Jeremiah Larson has taken the recruiting for this program, and he's turned it up a notch. These ladies are competing on the national stage now.
So much so that there was an announcement this week that we were going to be getting transfers coming in. Folks that said, I want to come to Ogden and play for what you guys got going there. I can't wait. So that's the effect that can happen when you've got a good group of folks who are playing well at a high level, and people across the country see that and say, gosh, I'd like to be a part of that. So now, AC, I want to turn our focus a little bit. We've talked a lot about this match, as we should, but we've got a big one tomorrow, 5 o'clock, ESPN again. The Wildcats going to be taking on the number 1 team in the country in Wisconsin. Jeremiah Larson, you asked him a question about this in the post-game presser. Talk to us kind of about what he told you about facing Wisconsin, who played for a national championship in 2019.
Well, Wisconsin is number 1 for a reason. They are very, very good. Yeah. So I asked Jeremiah Larson in the post-game press conference, I said, Jeremiah, what is it going to take to beat Wisconsin? And you know what? He was real. He was like, you know what? They were in the 2019 national championship match for a reason. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. And then he also told me, he said, listen, we had to get through Bowling Green to get to Wisconsin. So we put a lot of our attention, all of our attention on Bowling Green. And we're going to get to the Wisconsin film, and we're going to get to that prep tonight. But we ended up putting, you don't get to Wisconsin without getting through Bowling Green first. Yep. And so they put all their focus on Bowling Green, and the team got the biggest win in school history. And tomorrow there's going to be a lot of eyes on this match against Wisconsin. And I'll tell you what, it's a shame, because I think that this team was underseeded. I don't think that they should be going against Wisconsin. I think that they should be going against a different team, but they're going to be playing against the best team in the land, and Weber State gets to show everybody in the entire country, in the entire world. There's going to be a lot of people, international eyes on this match, what Weber State volleyball is about. And so, this is a talented team, best team in Weber State history, and best coach in Weber State volleyball history for sure. And I fully expect them to put on a respectful outing against Wisconsin tomorrow.
Yeah, because like you said, a very quality squad over there, and maybe Weber State a little bit underseeded for what they are, but we'll have to see. Coach Jeremiah Larson and his team will be hitting the film, no doubt, tonight. Enjoying the victory, of course, but now time to get back to work because the best team's coming. Sort of like I feel like this is akin to when Weber State football had the opportunity to play the Bison in Fargo in football, and then the Bison came to Ogden to also play again. So Weber State got a front row seat to the best in the land, and get another opportunity tomorrow to see what that's like. So really big learning opportunity for the Wildcats. We'll see how they show out. We know this is a team that can take care of it. So with that, folks, we're going to wrap it.
On that note, Colby, real quick, I apologize, but that's exactly what this is. Weber State has a front row seat to see what the best team in the land is doing. They have a front row seat to see where they stack up. And honestly, everything from here on out is just it's icing on the cake, because this team they're all coming back. They're all coming back next year in the fall. So Sam Sheese, Rylan Adams, Ashlyn Power, Danny Ney, guess what? Everybody's coming back, and they're going to be more loaded, more talented, more prepped, more ready than ever before. And so honestly, everything right now is a precursor to what happens next season. And I'll tell you what, it's been a heck of a precursor. It's been one just awesome, amazing, and I said it, superlative-laden ride throughout this 2021 season. And I'm excited to see what they do tomorrow. And I'm even more excited to see what they do in the fall.
Definitely. So with that, folks, we're going to wrap it up. I want to encourage everyone. I'm not sure where you're watching on this one, but be sure to follow us on social media. We're on several platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also watch these on YouTube if you'd like to. Also, feel free to check us out. We have a great podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Stitcher. Look for Weber State Weekly. We've got a show each week to talk a little bit about what is happening in the world of Wildcat sports. But then also on football weekends during game day, we have a game day show that AC is the host of, where they talk all about the matchup coming up. And so there will not be one of those necessarily. Unless are you guys recording this week, AC? Yep, there will be a bye week episode this Saturday. So
and we've got a guest,
and there's a special guest. So tune in for that. And then also one last thing, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, WildcatRack.com. If you're looking for officially licensed Wildcat apparel made right here in Weber County, WildcatRack.com is the place. Go check them out. They've got a number of designs up. They just launched a hoodie this week, very soft tri-blend hoodie up on the website right now. So go to WildcatRack.com and check them out. Always happy to support the purple and white. So I want to thank you, AC, for all this great analysis. We'll be getting together tomorrow, win or lose, to talk about this match against Wisconsin, the best in the land. And so we'll wrap like we usually do and say, Weber State, Weber State.
Biggest win in school history. Great, great, great.
My man, go Wildcats.